Alrighty, YouTube. Had to take a little drive tonight, and on the way home I figured I'd shoot a little video on why prep. What is prepping and why should we prep? Well, I mean, really, it's common sense to me, but I mean, some people might not understand. What is prepping? Personally, prepping to me is anything from bushcraft to just stockpiling ammo or food or water. You know, when I say bushcrafting, I mean like going out, starting friction fires, or you know, shelter building. Anything that in a crisis would help you overcome any situation that might be prevented, like food storage. Some people say, you know, why have all that food? What if you gotta move and you gotta haul all that food, and you know, if you're bugging out, you got all this food to carry. Well, let's say, you know, you got a nice stockpile and something happens, you lose your job, or you know, something medical happens and you're not able to provide for your family. You always got your stockpile to rely on, and you know, that's like an everyday occurrence. You know, I'm currently unemployed. I lost my job, and I'm having to think of unconventional ways to make money, and been using what little bit of stockpile I did have to now rotate into our pantry so we can still eat every day. And you know, we still hunt, of course, fish. We do a lot of fishing for that reason. Prepping doesn't have to necessarily mean, you know, guns, ammo, food, and water. Just having, you know, what is simple bushcrafting skills to some people could mean life or death for the general population. The general population, they don't, you know, they might not know that a battery and steel wool will start a fire. You know, they probably have no idea what a hand drill or a bow drill is. Those are simple things that, you know, for me, I could rely on in a doomsday or, you know, a survival situation. Now, I'm not saying everybody run out and start, you know, buying food and water and ammo and guns and tarps and strings and all kinds of stuff. It's just, whenever you're shopping, go find you some cheap items to throw in a cabinet or in a box. And if, you know, you go to garage sales, pick up, you know, some you know, something that you know that you can use later down the road in a self-reliance doomsday type scenario, and you can do it on the cheap. You don't have to go out and buy, you know, $150 tent when you can go buy a $2 tarp and it's going to serve your purpose. You don't have to go out and buy AKs and ARs and 1911s when you can go buy a nice Ruger 1022 and upgrade it to pretty much do anything, you know, except for big game hunting. They have all kinds of stocks and clips and sights and all kinds of nice things that you can do to that, and that's gonna be more useful because now you can use it for not only self-protection. You can use it for small game hunting. You can take big game, you know, it's just not as easily. Not to mention, you're gonna spend more calories looking for big game than you are just sitting on your front porch and waiting for a squirrel to roll by. You know, stalking and tracking, that's energy and calories burned. So, you know, prepping is a mentality as well as a habit, or some people might say it's an addiction. I have a survival mentality through my prepping and my bushcraft. It's good key. It's a good characteristic to have. Understanding what it is to survive, what it takes on a daily basis for, you know, your survival. And a lot of people don't think about that. They'll just say, "Oh, I'll go to the store and buy a sandwich and a drink, and you know, I'm good until later, and then I can go to a fast food joint and get a combo, and then I can go, you know, get some gas." Well, you know, what if all that stopped? You know, say all these solar flares that we're having lately, and if you don't know about the solar flares, that's nothing but an EMP shooting straight towards Earth, and we've had quite a many in the last month, and I've never seen so many back to back to back. So, you know, if you're not prepping, there's plenty of reasons to prep. Like I say, I mean, you can lose your job, and or, you know, you can be crippled in some way where you can provide for your family. Well, it's already there. If you're into prepping, you already have things in place to ensure survivability. And of course, you know, the more that you have, the longer and better off that you're going to be. And so yeah, I personally believe that prepping is something that everyone should do to an extent. I'm not saying everybody go out and, you know, buy MREs. Just, you know, if you pass the dollar store, you know, go in there and browse around. You might find some things in there, you know, rather interesting, instead of having to go all the way to Walmart and spending, you know, a lot more when it's pretty much the same stuff. I'm not saying, you know, stuff from the dollar store's gonna save your life, but it can damn sure help. Prepping doesn't have to be expensive. Like my rain barrels, I picked those up for like 15 bucks. I got 3 of them, $5 a piece, at a thrift store. The guy had them out back. I told him to, you know, make offer me a price. We haggled from like 30 down to 15. I mean, it don't have to be expensive. That's why, you know, check the thrift stores, go to Goodwill, the dollar store, yard sales, Craigslist. Going out and buying things new from a retail outlet, you're just making somebody else's survival rate increase, because now they can spend that extra money that you could have saved to ensure their survivability. So yeah, just, it don't have to be expensive, and it don't have to be done all at one time. You know, anything that you can do now is gonna benefit you later down the road, whether you believe it or not, and whether it's doomsday or not, it will help. And another step to prepping is a good bug out bag. You know, I personally think that bugging out is last resort only. Like, if some kind of major event is occurring, like say a tornado or a hurricane or a tidal wave, something like that, that's forcing me to leave, and I don't know where I'm going, bug out bag can mean life or death. I mean, yeah, we're gonna get in the car, we're gonna jump on the highway, and we're gonna go to X&M, middle of nowhere. Yeah, well, what happens if traffic is just dead stop and you run out of gas, and all you have left is to hoof it? I mean, a little bug out bag, with just your basics. Some water, a way to boil it, just a couple items of food, a blanket and a tarp with some rope. That can mean life or death. And you never know when an event is going to occur that you might actually have to rely on that bag. It might not be for what it was intended. I mean, you might not have to use it for bugging out, but like I said, what if you break down and it's raining and you're out fixing a flat tire? Well, that tarp and that string, you know, you can put you up a canvas and be able to work out of the rain. With the blanket, if it's not, if you don't have a tarp or something and you get wet and you don't have an extra set of clothes in your bag, then the blanket, you can wrap up in the blanket and, you know, keep from going hypothermic or whatever. There's many uses for a bug out bag that don't necessarily have to mean bugging out. My bushcraft bag and my bug out bag are pretty much similar, and they're pretty much one and the same. They have basically the same items. The bug out bag has more tool options and usually more food. I don't usually put food in my bushcraft bag unless, you know, I know that I'm in a situation where I might not be able to get food, or I might be in a situation where I can't get out for a couple days. Me being in the city, there's pretty much, you know, a way out all the time. Even if I have to go knock on some stranger's door and, you know, give them the rundown. Hey, I got lost in the woods, and can I borrow your phone just to call somebody or something? There's always options like that in the city, but then again, what happens if something happens to the city? You gotta have a backup plan, and have a backup plan for your backup plan. And make sure, you know, your loved ones know the plan, know the routine, know how to use the tools provided, know where your bug out bag or their bug out bag is. We have bug out bags for every member in the family. We even have one for the children. It's mainly just things to keep them occupied, as well as, you know, like a change of clothes, things that affect, you know, toys, crayons, coloring books, just stuff to keep them occupied. Because if, you know, if you have kids, if the kids are whining, you know, that takes, it's a big distraction, you know, when you're trying to deal with multiple things at one time, your own survivability, and you got the kids and the old lady, you know, griping in your ear, you know, a little radio and some coloring books, that can make it go a lot easier. I've had to use that tactic before in road trips and stuff like that. But yeah, so prepping isn't, you know, just something that us crazy people do just for the fun of it because we're, you know, insane. We're doing it, you know, to ensure our survivability. Self-preservation is like in all of us. The more you can do to provide for yourself and your family, the better off you're going to be in a shit hit the fan, without rule of law situation. So like I say, have a backup plan. That's part of prepping, is just planning. Like I say, have a backup plan for your backup plan. You know, if there are certain things out there that people prep for, like, for instance, the EMP or floods, UFO abductions. I mean, there's some pretty far-fetched things out there to prep for. But if all these people are doing it, I'm not trying to say, you know, jump on the bandwagon and be a trender with everybody else. But if everybody else is noticing reasons to prep, there might actually be something to this. I mean, who's to say any one of us is wrong? It's all up to us on how we're gonna live in a without rule of law, shit hit the fan situation, you know, something like that. The more you have, the better off you'll be in most situations. Then again, like in a bugging out situation, the more you have can also hinder you, because you know you're gonna need more fuel, or you know you're not gonna be able to move as fast. Things like that. So these are all things just to keep in mind. I've probably been rambling a little too long on here. I'm almost home, back in the Charlotte. So yeah, just keep in mind that, you know, all these people see that there's a reason to prep. You know, that we're not all doing it for the same reason, but we know that something is bound to happen. We've had it too good for too long. This decline in the economy is kind of brought everything to eye level with everyone. A lot of us are noticing that, you know, we take a lot of things for granted. Just the water we drink and the food we eat is a great blessing. So just do what you gotta do, and prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Of course, that goes with any scenario. Always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That way, if anything does go wrong, at least you had a backup plan. Not everybody can say that. A lot of people are probably going to be knocking on prepper stores because they're just not ready at all, period. You can't rely on anybody but yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you, and you're not always going to be able to pay for services to have somebody, you know, do things for you. We're a big services economy, which is another reason that I believe